So another thing I've kind of, I don't know if I'm, it's probably in my own head, but my weight fluctuates, or last couple of years, you know, winter I'm gaining weight and then I'm losing weight, and I got like a 20-pound cycle that I can kind of come out, and I'm always either trying to lose or I'm gaining. Like I'm never there's the like balance. You seem to have you've struck to me from you seem to have a good balance with your physical fitness and your nutrition. Is there anything nutrition wise that you kind of do, like anything like
So pre-COVID, no, not necessarily. It was just random exercising and so forth, and it was one of the things my doc would tell me. I'd go in every year for my physical, and 195, 197. I said to him 2 years ago. He said, "Well, you're consistent, man. Your numbers are fine, this and that." And I said, "All right." I said, "Well, but where I'm at with my height and so forth." He said, "Well, geez, you believe the charge." He said, "Technically, you're obese." And I'm like, "Right." And he just started laughing. He said, "Yeah, the way they do the charts and so forth."
Right.
I said, "Well, all joking aside," I said, "Well, what do you think?" And without missing a beat, just matter of fact, he goes, "You can stand to lose 30." And I went, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, 165? Went home and told my wife that. She's like, "Oh my God, 160." She goes, "You would look sickly at 165. So
I find that an interesting attitude. I've heard that a couple times with other people.
So I lost 20.
Did you really?
I did.
How'd you do it?
Bike.
Just exercise.
No, I take that back. I think, all right, yep. Started that, and then the last 2 years, it's intermittent fasting.
I'm such a fan. Yeah.
So even today, so I swam today, and I didn't eat until 11. So my version of it, which I learned from my wife because she's been doing it for longer than me. So 8 hours. So 11 a.m., 7 p.m. And usually we're not eating at 7. Usually it's a little bit earlier than that. And then that's been the cycle, and you put that with the exercise. And exercise in a way can be a suppressant of appetite.
Absolutely.
And so a couple cups of coffee in the morning, still do that. But it's been those two, and I was way out last week. I was telling you, and it was did a customer event down in Florida, and I was like, my gosh, ate large, and I'm like, get back home and I got on scale. I was like, oh, geez, so I know I need to do so back at it, but that's been it. So that intermittent it was one of those things that it clicked, it worked.
What would you normally have before that? Like, so you're basically cutting out your almost breakfast.
I would.
Snack.
I mean, I would eat something for breakfast, and it might even be a handful of cookies with my cup of coffee.
Right. Right.
That was breakfast or whatever. So tried to kind of cut that out, but and then trying to eat semi-healthy for lunch and not pound it down. Have smaller portions and not skimp so much at dinner.
Right.
And it seems to work.
It absolutely. I mean, for me, it's been.
Dude, you were ripped when you were training for that. I mean, holy crap! I mean, it was impressive.
It was just loss.
Well, no, I mean, you put all that together.
You.
I mean, I know you're on a regimen because we talked about it at the pool. I'm over 50. I mean, I don't, between my work life, personal life, and what exercise I do, I don't know if I could do what you do. Not that I would mind doing that, but just I'm in a different cycle right now, and so I was watching you with great interest in how you were doing, what you
Right.
were doing. So I know I would kind of quiz you sometimes when I'd see you at the pool, just because I was intrigued. And you were ripped, and I think you were telling me about that regimen you were on. Like, yeah, okay, I'm kind of doing that. I'm not to that extent, but I believe in it.
I've toyed around with a whole bunch of different things. I did vegan for a couple weeks. I've done carnivore. I've done keto, paleo. Just kind of just mixing them up and trying them and see how my body felt and different things. But fasting's been the most.
I did the no carb thing, the Atkins, years ago. I think I was actually still in Ohio when I did that, but I weighed today what I weighed in my senior year in high school.
Right.
And so, 180 is 175, 180.
Right.
And I still look healthy. I'm not emaciated.
Oh, you look like a strong guy.
Yeah. So it's.
I see you
so
when
yeah.
you shoot.
So no, it's been good. It's been absolutely great.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest in trying to run farther distances, just trying to get up to the marathon, there's the wall you hit at like 18, 20 miles that's you can't digest enough to perform, to finish the race. You burn more than you can have in your system. So then there has to be a different solution, and fasting mixed with kind of keto, lower carbs, your body is forced, it's like I don't have carbs, I have to burn something else, and it starts becoming more efficient at burning body fat, and that's what kind of gets you. And that's since I've kind of been toying with that. So like I get locked in, like I have a race, I'm gonna do this race on this day, so 3 weeks out I got to be locked in, and I can get so locked in. And that's probably when you saw me, I was kind of really at the peak of being locked in, but there's no doubt that made a huge difference. But then the fasting, the thing that's been blowing I talked to Sue about this recently. So I did my cousin, who I've been on this journey with, he started a podcast. He's the one that and had me on his podcast. He's never released it. He kind of decided it's too much time and effort. He's starting his own business, or has had a business, but now is kind of like it's soul focused, and it hasn't been enough time to continue his podcast. But in that podcast, he kind of told me about intermittent fasting and what he was doing, which sounded intriguing. He goes, and then I want to try like a 3-day fast and a 5-day fast. So that it got rattling around in my head, and then I tried it. So I did a 3-day fast, and I didn't exercise much then. Like I did kind of light exercise, and then I did a 3-day fast with full exercise, and then I did a 5-day fast. I had energy for 5 days. Like it was amazing to me. So like, and the thing that kind of keeps playing around in my head, wants and needs. Like I'll have a granola bar or something, and 20 minutes later I'm already starting to like, I can go for something else. Do I really need that? I can go 5 days, but I can't go 20 minutes.
Right.
What is that? And I think a lot of it's sugar consumption, but in your body's craving that and wanting that back. But that's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I reprimand myself a lot because I definitely cave into the wants way too often.
Yeah, I jokingly say that the exercise regimen allows me to indulge in certain vices because I'm self-proclaimed Gagan's beer snob. I love their beer,
right?
And it's like, okay, if I have a few beers, then I want to be able to handle it from a weight perspective.
Absolutely,
that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, without and one other thing so there's a podcast I listen to, Lex Friedman, every once in a while, and he was saying, anytime he's going out to dinner, he fasts that whole day. And I can tell you from my longer fasts, or even just a day fast, that first meal you have, it doesn't matter if it's a McDonald's hamburger. It's the best tasting hamburger you've ever had. And when he said that, I'm like, what an interesting idea, because you get to that meal, it's just like a sensory overload. Mm-hmm. And there's that kind of, we talked about embrace the suck and the misery of it, and just the balance of, exercising, and then you feel better. You restrict yourself and you feel better. And I heard a psychologist kind of talking about, nowadays we have pleasure at our fingertips. Anytime we need stimulation, we can look at our phone, pull up YouTube or pull up Facebook or whatever it is nowadays. And she was saying how we need to be more alone in our thoughts. That's what we're losing in this as our technology is advancing, and kind of being in that suffering. A little, it doesn't have to be the big time suffering, but just that little discomfort makes the pleasure better. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I get that.
Yeah. I've had a lot of just thoughts on where the food comes from. Number one, I've tried to eliminate as much processed stuff as I can. Try to eat more real foods, which once again I cave way too often. But then there's you look at where our meat comes from. It's these animals living in, and what's been pumped into their bodies and all that stuff. But then you look at monocrop agriculture, and it's not that great either. And it's I've been toying with the idea to try to. I didn't grow up in a hunting family at all.
I didn't either.
And I know nothing about it. And I do love the idea of learning a new challenge and trying to know where my food comes from a bit more. And so when you're talking about fishing, that part of it sounds so appealing to me. And yeah, I am it's on my list. I want to learn archery.
Do you have a garden?
We do. 2 years ago we started it, and it grew this year quite a bit. We learned a lot the first year, and then the second we learned we didn't know as much as we thought we knew. But the first year a bunch of people gave us, we have some friends that they gave us plants, they had already started the plants, and we started the garden from there. And then this year we started them from our own little buds, and from seeds, I should say.
Awesome. In the ground, raised beds?
In the ground. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty successful this year. We grew a lot of things we didn't use so much. The timing of gardens is such an interesting thing. My buddy, who's a big gardener and kind of got me into it, was saying, just freeze those tomatoes. And we had so many tomatoes this year. And it worked. I have a whole, a couple gallons of tomatoes that are ready to go in chili whenever I want.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm like, the year before, they probably would have gone to waste or in a compost somewhere.
Right.
That's been an interesting thing for us.
I've been gardening for quite a few years. I love it. Peaceful. My family refers to it as my crops, so I'm out there doing my thing. So it's good.
Yeah, we're
nothing like fresh veggies.
Yeah, but they're never. I'm such a salad guy. That's how I love my veggies, and you never get them all at the same time. But it is nice to have something you've grown yourself, and you know where it came from. You know what's been put into it. Yeah, that's my food, and what I choose for food has been my biggest kind of struggle for myself. Just trying to make a better decision. The farmers market we've kind of got into this year. It's wow, I wish I'd been doing this sooner. That's meeting people in little chats, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,